On the wedding night in the 80s, the sweet wife has spaced Chapter 1, I won't run away. Chapter 1 I will not run away from marriage. Hurry up, move quickly, comb your hair quickly after changing clothes, don't forget to put on your hair. Yun-mo was awakened by the noisy voices in her ears, and when she opened her eyes, she saw a beautiful and delicate face in the mirror. This is her face, but it doesn't look like her. Looking in the mirror, she looked like a marionette being played around by a few little girls. Adorned in bright red clothes, her hair is tied into a bun, and she wears a red and tacky hairdo, and her cheeks are rouged like a monkey's butt. All this indicates that she may be a bride who is about to enter the wedding hall. But what exactly is this place? Didn't she die in a car accident? Could it be that in the underworld, he was caught by Lord Hades to be a ghost bride? Is everything packed? A young woman in a blue dress walked in from the door and asked the servant. It's almost there. Someone whispered back. Seeing Yun-mo looking at her in a daze through the mirror, Yin-yao smiled, Xiao-mo, the wedding party will be here soon, get ready to go out. Wait a moment. Seeing someone taking a red cloth hijab and trying to cover herself, Yun-mo hurriedly stopped her, staring suspiciously at the people in the room. Who are you? What are you doing to welcome relatives? What are you doing? Not surprised by Yun-mo's strange servants, they all looked at Yun-yao, waiting for orders. Yun-yao walked up to Yun-mo unhurriedly, with a strong sarcasm on her face, she said in a voice that could only be heard by two people, Yun-mo, don't waste your time, it's useless even if you pretend to be crazy, the wedding date has been fixed, Dad said, even if you are tied today, I will tie you to Ling's house to complete the wedding. After finishing speaking, she no longer gave Yun-mo a chance to speak, and directly asked the servant to cover Yun-mo's mouth with a veil. 10 minutes later, the welcoming team arrived at the gate of Yun's small bungalow. Two middle-aged women with big arms and round waists supported Yun-mo, who was forcibly covered with a red hijab, and followed Yun-yao to the wedding party. Look, this is the mud-legged husband that Yun-mo is going to marry. He looks pretty good too. What's the use of having a good face? No money, no power, no education. I live in a slum like the old street. I heard that the status is not good. I don't even accept soldiers. I can only do some lowly jobs to beg for food. If you marry into that kind of family, you will never be able to turn over for the rest of your life. Ah, no wonder Yun-mo refuses to marry even if she dies. The circle of rich and powerful families always favors the high and depresses the low. Yun-mo used to be flamboyant and beautiful, and there were not a few people who secretly envied her. Now that she fell into the mud, everyone naturally couldn't wait to see her jokes. Hearing the taunts around her, and looking at the half-new 28-bar bicycle pushed by the official groom, the smile on Yun-yao's face couldn't help but deepen. Who would have thought that the eldest lady of the Yun family who was envied by everyone in Jiangqing was actually a fake daughter who occupied the magpie's nest? Yun-mo, your hard days are yet to come. Seeing Ling Chuan frowning and staring at Yun-mo who was still writhing and struggling, Yun-yao explained softly, Xiao-mo is still arguing, but it doesn't matter, the wedding can't be delayed, in order to prevent any accidents, let's go, Xiao-mo, in my car, you go ahead, and I'll ask the driver to follow. Ling Chuan's black eyes sank, and then he pushed the bicycle and turned around without saying a word. Yun-yao turned her head and signaled the two aunts to stuff Yun-mo into the back seat of her red crown car. The young ladies who were watching around also got into the car of themselves or their good sisters, intending to continue to watch Yun-mo's jokes. After closing the car door, Yun-yao lifted the red hijab on Yun-mo's head. Yun-mo, you'd better be honest, otherwise I'll have someone knock you out. Their attacks are not serious, and I don't know if they will break your head. Yun-mo looked at the mother-in-law who was sandwiching her from left to right, and slowly stopped struggling. Based on intuition, the woman in front of her who is full of hostility towards her is absolutely capable of such a thing. Seeing that she was honest, Yun-yao took the handkerchief from her mouth in satisfaction, with mockery and complacency on her face. I know you look down on Ling Chuan, but Dad has spent a lot of effort to get him to marry you willingly. If you don't marry him, next time you might have to marry an old man, or marry someone with a medical condition. An old bachelor with a hidden disease. Yun-yao opened and closed her mouth to threaten, but Yun-mo seemed to be struck by lightning, and her mind rang loudly. Yun Mo, Ling Chuan. Isn't this the name of the vicious female supporting role and her husband in a chronological novel she read before? Suddenly, a flood of memories flooded into my brain. A few minutes later, Yunma finally understood the current situation. It turned out that she had transmigrated into a period novel called Rebirth in the 80s and Prosperous Age of Pet Marriage. The sad thing is that she didn't dress up as the heroine in the book, but a cannon fodder female supporting role with the same name and surname in the book. The original owner was a fake daughter who was wronged. After her background was revealed, she stayed at the house of her adoptive parents and refused to leave. Forcibly married Ling Chuan, a rough man who lived in a slum. After marriage, the original owner was also restless. He disliked the rough husband for being uneducated. He only cared about going out to make money and was away from home all year round. After a few years of marriage, he couldn't bear the loneliness. What the original owner didn't know was that the rough man husband she despised started his own company a few years after her death and became a well-known business tycoon. After sorting out her thoughts, Yunma settled down, looked at Yunyao who had been watching her jokes all day long, and said with a smile, "I think what you said makes sense. Although Ling Chuan is a little poor, he is tall and handsome. I am very satisfied to marry such a man who is steady and willing to endure hardships." Yunyao naturally didn't believe Yunma's words. "Yunma, I advise you not to make any crooked ideas. If you dare to escape marriage, I will ask Dad to move your household registration back to the countryside. You must know that it is more difficult to move your rural household registration back to the city than going to heaven, and even if they are still non-agricultural households after moving back, and cannot enjoy the benefits and convenience of urban hukou. Don't worry, I won't run away. I'm penniless, where can I go?" That's right. Yunma is used to being a rich lady, she doesn't know any livelihood skills, and she has no money, so it is difficult to survive outside. Receiving Yunyao's signal, the two women let go of Yunma's grip. Yunma rubbed her hand bones that were pinched by the ants, while looking out of the car window curiously. Whether it is construction, transportation, citizens' clothing, etc., we can see how backward the economic development of this era is. Although she became another person for no reason, it is always a good thing to be alive. Yunma calmed down and decided to play it by ear. The new book is coming, 1v1 Sweet Pet, please take good care of the little fairies, check in plus vote for recommendation, I love you, okay. Update, 4,000 plus words per day during the free period, 2 updates. For every 1,000 recommendation tickets, 2,000 words will be added, 1 update. The background of the article is overhead, referring to prices in the 1985s. The heroine's golden finger is space plus spiritual spring, which will be planted later, not the kind of material hoarding. Recommend Lao Chi's other finished articles. After I was reborn, I was targeted by the boss, you May Queen of Powers vs Affectionate Boss. Canary was reborn and became a big boss, soft beauty vs Chable in power. The little fairy wife dressed as a villainous boss, delicate fairy vs cold villain. End of this chapter. On the wedding night in the 80s, the sweet wife has space. Chapter 2, the wedding scene was slandered as a thief. Chapter 2, the wedding scene is slandered as a thief. The Crown sedan soon stopped in front of a dilapidated and narrow alley. The alley was too small for a car to drive in. Yunma was covered with a red hijab again, got out of the car and walked into the alley with the support of 2 women. The alley is not only small, but the road surface is also very broken. If you accidentally step on a loose floor tile, you will be splashed with mud and water. Yunma before wearing the book is a young lady from a top-notch family. She has a prominent family background and a delicate body. If it wasn't for being supported by 2 women, I don't know how many times I fell. The young ladies who followed behind complained incessantly, while covering their noses with handkerchiefs in disgust. My God, can people live in this kind of place? It's dilapidated and smells so bad that I'm about to vomit. Be patient, anyway, we only come here once in this life, and Yunma will live here for the rest of his life. Hearing this, everyone couldn't help being excited again, and even the smell didn't feel so bad. After walking for an unknown amount of time, I finally stopped. Amidst the deafening sound of firecrackers, the red hijab on Yunma's head was lifted off. With a clear view, a tall man in a dark blue tunic suit came into view. The opponent is very tall, Yunhua had to look up to see his face clearly. With a darker complexion, thick eyebrows and black eyes, a high and straight nose bridge, a cold and clear facial contour, coupled with a strong and tall figure, Yunhua blushed instinctively due to the pressure brought by a male hormone heartbeat. Yunhua couldn't understand that the original owner would dislike her husband with such a perfect appearance. While Yunemo was looking at Ling Chuan was also looking at her. He had heard about the notorious reputation of his new wife, and he was ready to marry her back home. After all, this marriage was just a transaction. But out of his expectations, the bride is not only not ugly, but beautiful as a fairy, especially a pair of eyes, which are big and round, with slightly raised eyetails, and moist and clear pupils, as if they can reflect his shadow. Even the mature and steady Ling Chuan couldn't help but stare dumbfounded. "Chuanzi, don't be dazed, the time is almost up, it's time to pray to heaven and earth." Reminded by his elder brother Ling Jiang, Ling Chuan shyly withdrew his gaze, turned around and walked towards the gate without saying hello to Yunmo. Yunemo froze in place at a loss, until she was pushed by someone, and then staggered to catch up with the bridegroom in front. "This kind of dilapidated house is not even as good as my servants. Why don't you ask Yunmo another day, would you like to be a servant in your house? She is also worthy. My family also has requirements for finding a servant, okay? At least she is down-to-earth and quick-witted. With her lazy and work-like virtue, I don't even want to be my nanny for free." Hearing the belittling and bullying of Yunma by the young ladies, Yunyao was extremely happy in her heart, but she didn't show the slightest bit on her face. "Since you're all here, let's go in and attend the wedding together. You'll be happy." Everyone came here to watch Yunma's joke, so they were naturally very happy to hear it. Across the knee-high threshold is a small courtyard. At this time, there is a square table in the middle of the small courtyard. On the square table are lit candles, sweets and cakes, and memorial tablets. Ling Chuan's parents have both passed away, and there are no other close relatives and elders in the family, so he can only use the tablets of his parents instead. Worship heaven and earth, parents, and husband and wife. Yunma ignorantly followed the bridegroom's movements, feeling dizzy in her head, feeling like she was dreaming. She who has never been in love in 2 lifetimes is getting married now. Courtesy, the couple toasts to the guests. With the sound of singing, a ceramic bowl was stuffed in Yunma's hand. Looking at the clear wine swaying in the ceramic bowl, something flashed in Yunma's mind, but before she could think about it, she was caught by the bang at her feet. The sound of gold and stone hitting attracts attention. Looking down, there was a gold bracelet inlaid with rubies lying on the ground. The weather is good today. Under the sunlight, the bracelet is shining golden, which is particularly eye-catching. My God, such a big gold bracelet is estimated to cost 2,000 to 3,000 yuan. More than that, you didn't see that there are several rubies on the bracelet, which cost at least 4,000 to 5,000 yuan. Hiss. The guests in the small courtyard all gasped. In these years, the monthly salary of ordinary people is only 20 to 30. It takes 8 years of work without food or drink to be able to buy such a gold bracelet. At this time, one of the young ladies who watched the excitement shouted in surprise, "I remembered, isn't this bracelet the one that Mrs. Yan Jia lost some time ago?" "Yes, it's Mrs. Yan's one. I remember it very clearly." Another young lady echoed. "Who is Mrs. Yan Jia?" Another Tianjin lady explained, "I moved here from other places some time ago. I was abroad before. I heard that the family is specialized in import and export trade. It has a lot of background." "Oh, so that's the case, no wonder I haven't heard of it before. Since this is Mrs. Yan's lost bracelet. Why is it here?" A young lady pointed at Yunma, "I just saw that it fell from Yunma's body." "Yes, I saw it too. Why is the bracelet that Mrs. Yan lost on Yunma's body?" "I don't need to ask, she must have stolen it." Before Yunma could speak, everyone accused her of being a thief. Yunyao stood on the sidelines and looked at the scene she had carefully designed, feeling extremely happy. Looking at the young ladies and guests with disdainful eyes, and looking at Yunyao's surprised but malicious face, Yun Mo understood. This is a bureau specially set up for her. The purpose, of course, is to make her infamous reputation even more stinky. If she can't clean up her innocence today, her reputation as a thief will resound throughout Jiangqing as soon as the wedding is over. Yunma is not the original owner's kind of idiot who has nothing but beauty and no brains, and only makes noise when encountering things. She gave the group of young ladies a cold look. Now is a society ruled by law, and you can't convict others with your mouth. If you can't produce evidence, shut up, or believe it or not, I will sue you for slander and rumors. Immediately arrest all of you and send them to prison for reform through labor. Probably frightened by Yunma's words, several young ladies fell silent. Yunyao naturally can't just sit back and watch Yunma break the situation so easily. Xiaoma, you can tell your parents if you need money, or else I can lend you pocket money for emergency. How can you do such a foolish thing? After admiring the tea performance in Yunyao's tea, Yunma asked amusedly, what did I do? Why don't I know? Yunyao looked at the surrounding crowd in embarrassment, and made a look of helplessness. Forget it, let's talk about the bracelet in private. There are so many people here, it will be bad for your reputation if you make a big fuss. Yunma almost didn't laugh out loud. Does she still have a reputation? End of this chapter. On the wedding night in the 80s, the sweet wife has spaced Chapter 3, the bracelet is mine, not stolen. Chapter 3 The bracelet is mine, not stolen. I'll keep the bracelet first, and will return it to Mrs. Yen after the wedding is over, and apologize to her by the way. Mrs. Yen has a generous personality. As long as you sincerely admit your mistakes and apologize, she will forgive you. Yunyao said, bending down to pick up the bracelet on the ground. Yunma picked up the gold bracelet on the ground before the other party moved, and admired it in the sunlight, and let the surrounding crowd see the whole picture of the gold bracelet clearly. The chopstick-thin bracelet body is intricately and exquisitely crafted. Several pea-sized pigeon blood rubies are inlaid on the bracelet body. After admiring the bracelet, Yunma asked the few daughters who pointed out the origin of the bracelet just now, you said just now that you saw the bracelet fall from me with your own eyes, right? Yes, I can see clearly. I saw it too. Hearing affirmative answers from several people, Yunma nodded in satisfaction. Then I say this bracelet is mine, and everyone has no objection. After all, money touches people's hearts, who knows if someone will jump out and say that the bracelet is hers later. Woolen cloth. Everyone looked at each other in blank dismay. This Miss Yun family is probably not a fool. At this time, she doesn't want to find a way to clear up the charge of being a thief, but she is still greedy for money to claim the dirty things. The guests had the mentality of watching a show and eating melons, but Ling Jiang, the host, couldn't sit still. This wedding is just short of the last step, so why did it happen? These younger siblings are also real, they don't know how to do it secretly when stealing things, and now they are exposed in public, and they don't know how many arrangements and jokes they will suffer from neighbors in the future. Although Ling Jiang is the eldest brother, the person who makes decisions in the family has always been his younger brother Ling Chuan. He pulled Ling Chuan and signaled his younger brother to find a way to solve the farce in front of him so that he could continue to finish the wedding. But Ling Chuan turned a deaf ear to his elder brother's reminder, his dark eyes fixed on the bride who was 2 steps away. It is said that the fake daughter of the Yun family is stupid and cunning, but in his opinion, the woman in front of him is not only not stupid at all, but has a calmness and intelligence beyond ordinary people. He was very curious about how she could break the current predicament. Yunyao almost laughed when she heard that Yunmo recognized the bracelet. She hasn't done anything yet, this idiot actually didn't call himself out. Xiao Mo, you admit that you stole the bracelet. Yunma picked out her ears, and her beautiful almond eyes looked at the other person in surprise. You look young, only in your 30s, and your ears are receding. Yunyao's complexion suddenly became ugly. She is the same age as Yunma, both of whom have just turned 18. Why do you say she looks like 30? Is she that old? If Yunma knew Yunyao's inner thoughts, she would definitely yell that she was wronged. She was clearly telling the truth. It may be because she grew up in the countryside and lacked maintenance. Yunyao's skin is a little dark yellow and rough, and her face is dry and dry. With her hair and makeup, she looks very old-fashioned. Yunma said that she looks like 30 years old is really no exaggeration. Yunyao held back her anger and pretended to be aggrieved. Xiao Mo, just now you said that this bracelet is yours. Yunhua nodded. Yes, I said the bracelet is mine, but I didn't say I stole it. Yunyao pointed to the bracelet that Yunemo held in her hand, but this bracelet belongs to Mrs. Yen. Half a month ago she held a banquet at home, you and I both went, and Mrs. Yen wore this bracelet at that time. At the end of the day, Mrs. Yan's bracelet was lost, and they could all testify. Several daughters who were cued by Yunyao nodded their heads one after another. Yunhua looked at the other party curiously. You say this bracelet belongs to Mrs. Yen, what evidence do you have? The bracelet is inlaid with 6 prismatic rubies, and the inner side of the bracelet is engraved with Mrs. Yan's surname, in seal characters of song. Yunhua praised in an unclear manner. It seems that it took a lot of effort to understand so much. Yunyao explained, when the lady at the banquet talked to us about the origin of the bracelet, this bracelet was a token of love given to her by Mr. Yen during the engagement, and many people at the banquet knew about it. You said you were not feeling well that night, left the banquet early. Not long after you left, Mrs. Yan's bracelet was lost. Yunyao wanted to stop talking, but she almost pointed out that Yunemo stole the bracelet because she was afraid of being found out, so she left early. I see. Yunhua smiled. However, this bracelet of mine is not the one that Mrs. Yen lost. Yunyao showed heartache and helplessness. Xiaomua, everyone has a time when they are confused and do something wrong. If you know your mistakes, you can make a big difference. There are witnesses and material evidences, so don't be obsessed with it. It is indeed a good moral character to correct a mistake, but the problem is, I didn't steal anything, why should I admit it? Speaking, Yunhua spread out her palms. The golden bracelet looked extraordinarily beautiful and dazzling in the snow-white palms. Ah, this bracelet really doesn't belong to Mrs. Yen. How do you know? Didn't Yunyao just say that there are 6 rubies on Mrs. Yan's bracelet, but there are 7 rubies on this bracelet? Impossible. Hearing a daughter's reminder, Yunyao quickly took the gold bracelet in Yunmo's hand, counted it, and there were indeed 7 rubies on it. No. Yunyao counted twice and rubbed her eyes, but there were still 7 rubies on the bracelet. It shouldn't be. How could this happen? This bracelet was obviously stuffed on Yunmo's body by her own hands. Why is there an extra ruby? Have you seen it clearly? Do you want someone else to look at it for you? Yunyao raised her head, met Yunmo's smiling and vivid face, and said in a broken voice, what did you do? Yunmo showed a surprised expression. Your words are puzzling. In the public, with so many pairs of eyes watching, isn't it clear what I did? My bracelet fell off, and I picked it up. It's that simple. Yunyao raised the bracelet. There should be 6 rubies on it. TSK, are you in a hurry? The heroine in the book is nothing more than that. Yunmo took a light breath, meeting Yunyao's aggressive aura. Her eye circles suddenly turned red, and crystal tears fell down. Yunmo's eyebrows and eyes were already well developed, but now she was crying silently. Not only did she not look embarrassed, but on the contrary she looked more beautiful and weak, which made me feel pity. On the day Mrs. Yen hosted the banquet, I left early because I was pushed into the lake and I was completely soaked. I don't have Mrs. stealing Yan's bracelet. I bought this bracelet secretly with the pocket money I've accumulated over the years. It was originally intended to be a birthday present for my mother, as a repayment for the 18 years of nurturing. Yunyao, I know you hate me for occupying 18 years of your life and causing you to suffer for 18 years, but I am also a victim. In order to make up for what I owe you, I usually try my best to tolerate you at home, and obey my parents' arrangement to get married. I won't compete with you for anything in the future, but why don't you let me go? End of this chapter. On the wedding night in the 80s, the sweet wife has spaced Chapter 4, Walking the Way of Balian makes Balian have nowhere to go. Chapter 4 Walking the Way of Balian leaves Balian with nowhere to go. There is a saying that, walking the way of Balian makes Balian have nowhere to go. Yunyao never dreamed that she was usually the one who tried to provoke right and wrong, but now Yunmo has learned this trick and used it on her. She reprimanded angrily, you are lying. With your personality, would you leave without a sound if you were really pushed into the water? That's true, let alone a charming lady like Yunmo, even they, who were pushed into the lake for no reason, must ask for an explanation. Everyone looked at Yunma with doubts in their eyes, obviously doubting the authenticity of what she just said. Yunma cried even harder. Lihua said with rain, I don't say it's because the people who pushed me are your good friends, they said it was to help you vent your anger. If I was wet, I would go to Mrs. Yen to ask for an explanation. Losing face is second, and it will ruin the atmosphere of the banquet. And they won't admit it, they will only say that I jumped into the lake myself to frame them. Anyway, this kind of thing doesn't happen once or twice. I learned a lot from a fall, and I left silently just hoping to calm things down and avoid some bad reviews about me. It was said that the fake daughter of the Yun family was arrogant, domineering, wicked and violent, while the real daughter was kind-hearted, humble and polite, but what they heard and saw today was completely different from the rumors. It is obvious that the real daughter united with outsiders to bully the fake daughter everywhere, and dared to frame the fake daughter as a thief in front of outsiders. One can imagine how hard the bullying is at home, where outsiders can't see. At this time, the guests turned their backs one after another, and began to feel sympathy and pity for Yunma, while they were full of disgust and contempt for Yunyao. Even those daughters who watched the excitement stared at Yunyao inexplicably. Although they are happy to watch Yunma make a fool of himself and make jokes, they don't have a good impression of Yunyao, a woman from the countryside. After all, women know women best, and they can tell that Yunyao's horrors are different. At this time, Yunyao also realized that she was at a disadvantage, and if she entangled with the gold bracelet, it would only be her who would suffer. The experience of living an extra life allowed her to quickly adjust her emotions, with a look of guilt and self-blame on her face. So it's like this, Xiao Mo, I don't know about this, they didn't tell me, when I saw the bracelet, I thought you had committed an old problem again, anyway, this matter is my fault, I didn't figure it out, my apologies. There is nothing wrong with apologizing, but the sentence, the old mistake has happened again, is very intriguing. Yunmo retorted, it's okay, anyway, it's not once or twice, I'm used to it. Used to be framed by you. Come on, hurt each other. Seeing that she couldn't take advantage of her mouth, Yunyao came up with the idea of a gold bracelet again. The pattern is similar to that of Mrs. Yan's, and it looks like it was made by a master. The purity and cut surface of the ruby are even more exquisite. Jiangqing doesn't have such superb craftsmanship, Mrs. Yan's one is also from the capital, so where did Yunma come from? Xiao Mo, this bracelet of yours is very rare. I wonder which gold store you bought it from. I asked someone to bring it from abroad. Yunyao wanted to continue asking, but Yunemo interrupted her, you said that Mrs. Yan's bracelet is engraved with song characters, right? Mine also has characters engraved on the inside, but not song characters. Following Yunma's words, Yunyao subconsciously looked at the inner side of the eye bracelet, and there was indeed the word YNM engraved on it. At this time, Yunyao didn't realize that she was being led off topic. Didn't you say that this bracelet is for Mom? Why isn't Mom's name engraved on the bracelet? Because this is a collection bought from someone else, I will find a master craftsman to smooth out the original lettering, and re-engraving my mother's name will do. At this point, Yunyao had nothing to say, so she had to return the gold bracelet to Yunmo. Ling Jiang hurriedly signaled the officiant to continue the last process of the wedding. Yunyao originally wanted to use the gold bracelet to fasten Yunmo's stolen bowl, but she didn't know that she would shoot herself in the foot, and it would be pointless to stay any longer. She left Ling's house with a gloomy expression while no one was paying attention. There was laughter in the new house, and two well-dressed ladies picked up the folded quilt and began to make the bed. Make the bed and make the bed, and the house will be full of children and grandchildren. Mr. Takako, young girl. Fortune and honor, always auspicious. Male marriage and female marriage, bridal chamber with flowers and candles. While reading, she also sprinkled dried fruits such as peanuts and red dates on the bed. After finishing their work, the two good-witted women looked at Yunma with smiles on their faces. Bride, the bed is ready, we wish you and the groom a loving husband and wife, and have a baby soon. Yunma nodded shyly, okay, thank you. The two lucky women looked at her, and she looked back at each other. The two sides just looked at each other, and the atmosphere fell into confusion and embarrassment for a moment. Until a lively aunt joked, look, our bride is so nervous that she even forgot to give the red envelope. Yunma suddenly realized that the red envelopes are for making the bed. The red envelope is not on me. After hearing her explanation, no one doubted anything. 2 red envelopes are only a few dollars. Can someone who can afford a gold bracelet afford to give red envelopes? At this time, someone enthusiastically asked Yunma who had the red envelope, and she went to help bring it in. When Yunma was not sure how to respond, a woman in her 30s stood up beside her. "Here I am, look at me, I am so happy that I forgot." After taking the red envelopes and wedding candies, everyone went out to have banquets one after another. Only Yunma and Li Lizhen were left in the new house. Li Lizhen looked at the few remaining wedding candies in a flower cloth bag, and secretly cursed those people for making them. 2 caddies of wedding candy made less than half a caddy left. While quickly fastening the mouth of the flower cloth bag, she said to Yunma, Sisters, please rest first, I will go out to see the child." Yunma nodded. After Li Lizhen left with the remaining wedding candies, Yunma immediately closed and locked the door, and then spread her hands. Under the urging of her thoughts, a crystal clear and round drop of water slowly oozed from the palm of her hand, and the next second, the water drop disappeared without a trace. Unexpectedly, her spiritual spring space was also brought. Yunma had a delighted smile on her face. In her previous life, she was congenitally weak and sickly since she was born. The master ordered her not to live past the age of 10. The family specially found an ancient jade pendant that had been consecrated for her, and asked her to wear it to keep her safe. When she was 5 years old, she accidentally broke her hand, and the blood dripped onto the ancient jade pendant, accidentally activating the spiritual spring space of the ancient jade pendant. In her previous life, she was able to live safely until she was in her 20s, which was due to the effect of the spiritual spring. In addition, Lingquan is still a small portable space, not very big, just the size of a room, where all the treasures and antiques she collected in her previous life are stored. The gold bracelet at the wedding is one of the collections in her space. When she was picking up the bracelet, she exchanged the bracelet in her space for the one on the ground through her thoughts. If Yunyao were more careful, she would have guessed that YNM is actually the pinyin abbreviation of her name. End of this chapter. On the wedding night in the 80s, the sweet wife has spaced chapter 5, let's have a good time with her from now on. After chapter 5, let's live with her. Yunma's thoughts moved slightly, and a golden bracelet inlaid with rubies appeared on each of her left and right hands. Yunma compared her own bracelet with the one Yunyao used to plant her. The number of rings and the body of the 2 bracelets are similar, but the pattern and the number of red treasures are different, which is why it is so easy for her muddle through. Knock knock. Hearing the knock on the door, Yunma immediately put the 2 gold bracelets into the portable space. Open the door, the person standing outside the door is the bridegroom officer, with food in his hand, it seems that he is here to deliver food to her. Don't eat? Seeing her blocking the door, Ling Chuan asked in a deep voice. Yunma hurriedly shook her head and stepped out of the way. Ling Chuan put the food on the wooden table, paused for a moment on the peanuts and red dates scattered on the bed, and turned to look at her. I don't know your taste, so I just took some. Oh, thank you. Facing the man who had already married her, Yunma was so embarrassed that she tapped her toes, and replied dryly. Seeing her nervousness and discomfort, Ling Chuan didn't linger any longer. Even though she was very hungry, the taste of the food was really unsatisfactory. It was tasteless and full of fat. Yunma managed to eat 2 mouthfuls of vegetables before putting down her chopsticks. Just as he was about to grab a few peanuts and red dates on the bed to satisfy his hunger, someone knocked on the door again, this time the knocking sound was very soft, as if the person had no energy. Yunma curiously opened the door, but there was nothing outside, and was about to close the door when a cry as thin as a mosquito came from the knee. Auntie. Yunma lowered her head and found that it was a little girl whose height was just over her knees. The little girl was holding a bowl of tea with all her strength, and her glass-like black eyes looked at her timidly. Yunemo squatted down, took the tea bowl from the girl's hand, and asked with a smile, Is it for me? What's your name? Ling Chunhua. Ah, so your name is Chunhua, what a nice name. Ling Chunhua blushed from the praise, pointed to the tea in Yunma's hand, and said softly, Uncle gave it to you. Yunma was not in a hurry to drink, but led Ling Chunhua into the house. originally wanted to get some candy for Ling Chunhua to eat, but after searching for a long time in the new house, she couldn't find any, so she had no choice but to grab some peanuts and red dates from the bed and stuff them for Ling Chunhua. Ling Chunhua was shy at first and refused to ask for it, but Yunhua put it directly in her pocket before she whispered thank you. While Ling Chunhua bowed her head to peel peanuts to eat, Yunhua dripped some spiritual spring water into the tea bowl. How should I put it, the heart of guarding against others is indispensable. In addition to prolonging life, Lingquan water also has the effect of detoxifying. Afterwards, Yunhua sipped some teasing words from Ling Chunhua. How old are you? 6 years old. Go to school yet? Ling Chunhua shook her head. Although Ling Chunhua is young and has a quiet personality, her thinking and articulation are fairly clear, and Yunhua has a general understanding of the Ling family within a short time. Ling's parents died early, and there are only 2 brothers Ling Jiang and Ling Chuan in the family. The woman who gave out the candy just now is Ling Jiang's wife, who is also Ling Chunhua's biological mother. In addition, Ling Chunhua also has a 4.5-year-old brother. What surprised Yunhua was that Ling Chunhua was very disciplined, and the peanut shells and juju pits she ate were placed on the table instead of being thrown everywhere on the ground. Yunhua originally had a good opinion of Li Junli, who was picked and searched, because of the red envelope and wedding candy, but now she thinks she has a little more favorable opinion. To be able to raise such a polite daughter, my character should not be much worse. The sun gradually turned to the west, and the guests dispersed. With the help of their good neighbors, the 2 brothers of the Ling family quickly cleaned up the leftovers. Ling Jiang took out the red envelopes and heepas that he had prepared in advance, and politely sent the neighbor who helped out. When he went back, he saw Aunt Zhou talking to Ling Chuan excitedly. Mr. Yun's secretary personally came and gave the family 800 yuan and 200 caddies of food stamps. Thank you, Chuanzi, thank you so much. After Mrs. Zhou thanked her and left, Ling Jiang pinched the tobacco in her hand, and walked in front of Ling Chuan with a guilty expression on her face. Chuanzi, I'm sorry for you. Ling Chuan raised his hand and patted his elder brother's shoulder to stop the other party from saying, the matter has been resolved, it's all right. Ling Jiang wiped his face with self-blame, and said angrily, I always remember the kindness that Brother Zhou showed us brothers. Back then, when my parents left, the creditors came to collect our debts every day. There was not even rice bran in the tank. If it weren't for the half-basket of sweet potatoes that Brother Zhou sent, we might have starved to death long ago. He is seriously ill and can't work now, and eating for the whole family has become a problem. Brother Zhou came to me and asked me to arrange a job for Zhou Xiaowei. I can't refuse, can I? Brother Zhou is in trouble, we will definitely help, but next time you discuss this with me first. Ling Jiang nodded quickly, I know, I will never make any claims in the future. Speaking of which, the marriage between Ling Chuan and Yun Mo started because of Zhou Xiaowei. Ling Chuan is a small foreman. He has about 20 workers under him. He is currently doing work in the real estate project developed by the Yun family. There is a long-standing regulation between the company and the contractors that the age of workers must not be under 16, which is also a national policy. Zhou Xiaowei is only 15 years old this year. In order to let Zhou Xiaowei work on the construction site, Ling Jiang lied that Zhou Xiaowei was 16 years old. It was bad luck, Zhou Xiaowei encountered a collapse accident not long after entering the construction site and was seriously injured. The responsibility for the accident lies with the company. According to regulations, the company should compensate the injured workers accordingly. After investigation, the person responsible for handling the accident found that Zhou Xiaowei was under the age of 16. Not only did he not get any compensation for illegal employment, but Ling Chuan, the foreman, had to pay high liquidated damages. Ling Chuan couldn't afford the money, so he could only come to the company's boss, that is, Yun Mo's adoptive father Yun Shixian, to plead for mercy. At that time, Yun Shixian was having a headache about Yun Ma, his adopted daughter. When he saw Ling Chuan, he suddenly had an idea. Finally, the 2 parties agreed that Ling Chuan would marry Yun Mo in exchange, and Yun Shixian would not pursue Ling Chuan's illegal employment. Chuanzi, I don't think that Miss Yun's family is as unreasonable as the rumors say, since you have married everyone back home, you can live a good life with her in the future. Women are all about the same. There are always minor problems of one kind or another. It doesn't matter who you marry. Besides, younger siblings are also handsome and educated. We don't suffer, what do you think? Thinking of the woman's gorgeous face, Ling Chuan's throat rolled slightly. Brother, I know it well. Well, it's getting late. After a long day, you and your siblings should wash up and rest early. With Ling Chuanhua's company and fun, time flies by and the sun goes down. Spring flowers. Hearing Ling Zhang's shout from the next door, Ling Chunhua quickly jumped off the stool. Auntie, my dad called me. Well, you go back. Ling Chunhua didn't move, her glass-like eyes aimed at the peanut shells on the wooden table. End of this chapter. On the wedding night in the 80s, the sweet wife has spaced Chapter 6, on the wedding night, he was not interested in her. Chapter 6 on the wedding night, he is not interested in her. Yunmo rubbed her head amusedly. It's okay, just leave it alone, I'll clean it up later. Thank you, Auntie. Ling Chunhua shyly turned around and ran away. Just 2 minutes after Ling Chunhua left, Ling Chuan came back. Seeing the man's tall body approaching her, Yunmo suddenly felt relaxed again. Tonight is their wedding night. If a man proposes to do that kind of thing with her, how should she refuse? This man is tall and burly, and he looks like he has strength. If he wants to fight, she will definitely not be able to beat him. Yunma's mind was in a mess, and she even thought of some self-defense weapons in the space, but Ling Chuan skipped directly in front of her, walked to the wooden cabinet at the end of the bed, took out 2 quilts from inside, and laid them on the ground. Floor covering. Yunmo realized belatedly that she was worrying too much, and she didn't want to share the bed with her at all. While she breathed a sigh of relief, Yunmo couldn't help feeling depressed. Could it be that she is not beautiful enough? He's not interested in her. Either blind or physically weak. Ling Chuan didn't know what Yunmo was complaining about. After making the bed, he went out again. About 5 minutes later, Ling Chuan came back to the house. His whole body was covered with steam, his hair was also wet, and his clothes were changed. It was obvious that he had taken a bath. Ling Chuan's looks are not bad in themselves. After taking a bath, he changed into a gray and soft cotton shirt. The cold and oppressive feeling on his body has eased, but he has added a bit of handsomeness. Yunmo was dumbfounded for a moment. Until Ling Chuan's dark eyes looked over, Yunmo said in a concealed manner, I also want to take a bath. There is hot water in the pot in the kitchen, and the bathroom is in the ear room to the left. Ling Chuan glanced at her and quickly looked away. This made Yunmo feel inexplicably frustrated, as if she wasn't attractive to him at all. Yunmo wondered at first why Ling Chuan told her that there was hot water in the pot, until she entered the bathroom and found that there was nothing in it except a wooden shelf. There is no wash basin, no water heater and shower, not even a faucet, and it is dark, without even a light. Although electricity has been connected in this era, poor families are relatively frugal, and they will not waste money on installing electric lights in the bathhouse. How do I wash this? Yunmo returned to the new house. There is no water in the bathroom, and it's so dark that you can't see it. Ling Chuan was packing up his things, and he didn't turn his head when he heard the words, the hot water is in the pot. If it's too hot, you can add some cold water in the tank. If you're afraid of the dark, you can light the candle on the window sill. Yunmo found it incredible. Do you want me to wash in the pot? Ling Chuan stopped packing his things, turned around, and looked at her with dark eyes. The woman's eyes are beautiful, big and round, but at this moment they are full of ignorance and bewilderment, without the cunning and cleverness of the wedding. There is a wooden barrel at the entrance of the bathhouse. You use it to carry the hot water into the bathhouse. I can't lift it. The wooden bucket at the entrance of the bathhouse was higher than her knees. It was difficult to carry an empty bucket, and she might break her arm when it was filled with water. Ling Chuan is not used to her coquettishness. If you can't lift it, then don't wash it. After finishing speaking, he ignored her and turned around to continue packing his things. Staring at the man's tall and muscular back for a moment, a sly look flashed in Yunma's eyes. If you don't help me carry it, then I'll ask my elder brother to help me carry it. After she finished speaking, she turned around and left, but she was carried back by the man within a few steps. Ling Chuan's handsome face is thin, his facial features are tough, his jawline is sharp, and when he is sullen, he is very scary, as if he can beat someone with his hands. Yunma was instinctively a little apprehensive, but her neck was stiff, and she seemed determined not to admit defeat. Anyway, her marriage is purely to catch the ducks on the shelves. If the other party really dares to do something to her, she can just regret the marriage. Come on, hit me quickly. It's a pity that Ling Chuan doesn't know how to read minds, and he can't hear Yunma's inner cry. The woman's arms are thin and soft, as if they would break if she exerted too much force. The elder brother's instructions echoed in her ears, and Ling Chuan's strength suddenly flickered. Loose. You look for a change of clothes first, and I'll fetch you water. Looking at the back of the man walking out of the room, Yunma couldn't tell whether she was happy or disappointed. Yunya was always puzzled. She took the bracelet back from Yenjia herself, and stuffed it into the hidden pocket of Yunma's clothes when Yunma got off the car. She specially asked someone to sew it on, and left a line on purpose. As long as you gently pull it, the bottom of the dark pocket will wear and the bracelet will fall off. Originally, everything went perfectly according to her plan, but who would have thought that the stolen goods that should have earned Yunma's reputation as a thief were exchanged? It's less than 10 minutes from the alley to Ling's house. Even if Yunma had a look in advance, it is impossible to find such a bracelet in such a short period of time as imagined by Mrs. Yan. So what went wrong? Where did Mrs. Yan's bracelet go? Really TM is a ghost. Yunyao returned to Yun's house full of resentment and doubts, and was called by Yunmu to the living room to talk as soon as she entered the door. How was the wedding? Nothing went wrong. The Yun family has a head and a face in Jiangqing, and they look down on the low-level poor like Ling Chuan from the bottom of their hearts. In order not to lower their status, they don't even want to attend the wedding, so they only let Yunyao show their face as a representative. The moment she saw the mica, Yunyao already had some calculations in her heart. She shook her head and replied softly, "The wedding went well, it's just." Upon hearing her daughter's tone, Yunmu immediately frowned. Is she making trouble again? Not really. Yunyao briefly talked about the gold bracelet. Of course, she understated the illusion that Yunmo was a thief. She only mentioned it in one sentence, but she emphasized that Yunmo was often abused when she made arrangements in front of outsiders. Bullying, feeling that the Yun family treated her badly. After hearing this, Yunmu was very angry. Haven't we treated her well enough? What else does she want? She really raised an ungrateful white-eyed wolf. If I knew it, I should have sent her back to the countryside directly, so I didn't have to stay in the village. It's a disgrace here. Hearing these words, cloudy eyes flashed across Yunyao's eyes. In her heart, she hoped that Yunma would be driven back to her hometown, but she had 10,000 reasons why she couldn't let Yunma go back. After being reborn, she desperately wanted to return to Yun's family, so she stole all the family's money without saying a word and came to Jiangqing by train. Once Yunma goes back, it will be revealed that she stole money and ran back to the city. For this reason, she had to dissuade Yun's family against her will, saying that Yunma was spoiled and raised, she couldn't carry it on her shoulders, and she didn't even have the skills to live. Sending her back to the countryside is no different from sending her to die, and can keep Yunma under her nose. The Yun family really listened to her words, and gave up the idea of sending Yunma back to the countryside. After all, if they really disregarded the life and death of their adopted daughter, outsiders would criticize the Yun family for being too cold-blooded. End of this chapter. On the wedding night in the 80s, the sweet wife has spaced Chapter 7, Water splashed by a married daughter. Chapter 7, The water thrown by the married daughter. Mom, don't be so angry. Xiaoma is also very interested in you. I have seen the gold bracelet. It is heavy. There are 7 rubies inlaid on it, and it is estimated to be no less than 5,000 yuan. Micah not only did not show half a smile, but was full of doubts. Is that bracelet really so valuable? Well, the weight and style are about the same as Mrs. Yan's. Mrs. Yan's is inlaid with 6 rubies. It was custom-made by a famous teacher in Beijing. It is said that it cost 4,000 yuan. The one in Xiaoma's hand has more rubies. I bought one, and it's a collection bought from abroad by someone else, so I'd say 5,000 is less. Where did she get so much money? That's not clear. Xiao Mo has a prejudice against me, and won't tell me anything. After hearing this, Yunmu was so angry that she scolded the white-eyed wolf, and her dissatisfaction with her adopted daughter reached its peak. Ah, 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 ah. Yunmo returned to the room after taking a shower, and sneezed several times as soon as she entered the door. While rubbing the tip of her nose, she looked at Ling Chuan, who seemed to be going out after changing clothes. Are you secretly scolding me? Ling Chuan gave her a strange look, but didn't answer. I'm going out for a while, you go to bed early, don't wait for me. The man went out after speaking. Yunma didn't care, and hoped that the other party would better not come back tonight, and she would be more comfortable sleeping alone. When the door was closed, Yunma turned around and accidentally found that the peanut shells and leftovers on the wooden table had been cleaned up. It seems that this man is not useless. A thought flashed through Yunma's mind, and then she sat cross-legged on the bed and counted the items in the Lingquan space. In addition to her personal treasures from her previous life, there are also some emergency medicines, food, clothing, and self-defense weapons in the Lingquan space. Although the number is not large, it is very practical for her now. If she knew she would come here, she should have stockpiled more supplies. In this era of lack of supplies and economic backwardness, the things in her space are too advanced and heterogeneous to be shown to others, but the underwear she wears is not afraid. Yunma found a set of pure cotton underwear, cut off the label, replaced it, and put the changed underwear back into the Lingquan space, waiting for a chance to deal with it. As for the clothes outside, she was to get married, not to mention the dowry, and she didn't even bring her luggage. Fortunately, there are some spare clothes in the space, so there won't be any change of clothes for the time being. By taking advantage of the dim light from the low houses on both sides, the Lingjiang and Lingchuan brothers walked quickly in the dilapidated narrow alleys, carrying things like rice, flour, grain and oil in their hands. Lingjiang, Chuanzi, can't you go to Uncle Zhou's house tomorrow? Why does it have to be tonight? On the wedding night, you left your siblings alone at home. Wouldn't it be a scandal to spread the word? There is a lot of urging on the construction site, and we have to leave early tomorrow morning. In such a hurry? Why don't you stay at home with your siblings for 2 more days tomorrow, and I'll go over and watch. Need not. Ling Jiang wanted to persuade him again, but when he raised his eyes and saw the Zhou family in front, he had to stop talking. At dinner time, the Yun family sat neatly around the dining table, and the European-style chandelier above their heads illuminated the entire dining room brilliantly. In this era when the poor in the countryside were still lighting kerosene lamps, the wealth of the Yun family can be seen. Yun Huan looked at the vacant seat, and happily exclaimed, "Finally, I don't have to sit and eat with that idiot in the future." Although no one was named, everyone in the Yun family knew who this hate was referring to. This was very rude, but no one in the Yun family raised a voice to remind or stop it. Yun's father, Yun Shixian, looked majestically at his eldest daughter Yunyao. "Is there anything wrong with today's wedding?" Yunyao smiled and nodded, "Everything is going well." Yun Shixian snorted displeasedly, but didn't ask any more questions. Yun Shixian can be regarded as a figure in Jiang City, so how could the matter of the wedding be hidden from his eyes and ears? Yun Shixian is not a soft-hearted housewife like Micah. Yunyao can tell stories in front of Micah, but this kind of trick doesn't work in front of the shrewd and old-fashioned Yun Shixian. Therefore, Yunyao never said a word of bad things about Yun Mo in front of Yun Shixian. Facts have proved that Yun Shixian likes this kind of thing very much. What he wants is a daughter who is well-behaved and obedient and can bring benefits to the Yun family, not a worm like Yunma who will only cause trouble and embarrass the Yun family. At this time, Yun Song, the second son of the Yun family, interjected, "Isn't she coming back tomorrow?" Yun Yao, although Xiao Mo is married, this is always her home, and it's normal to come back. Yun Huan frowned in disgust, "This is not her home, and she is not from our Yun family." Yun Yao has been paying attention to Father Yun's expression, and seeing that the other party shows no signs of anger, she continued, "Xiao Mo's luggage hasn't been packed in time. I originally wanted the servant to pack it up for her and send it there, but I was afraid that she lost her temper and said that we messed with her things. Why don't you clean up by yourself when she comes back? And you can also ask her how she is doing in Ling's house." "I don't want to see her." It's all because of her that I lose face at school, and everyone doesn't want to play with me. After Yunyao's attack in the afternoon, Yinmo was already very dissatisfied with her adopted daughter, but now that she learned that her youngest daughter was involved, she became even more disgusted with her adopted daughter. The water poured out by the married daughter, we raised her until she was 18 years old, and provided her with books for so many years. It is already the best of humanity. Now that she is married, let's cut off contact in the future. Listening to what Micah means, is she going to completely sever ties with Yunmo? Yun's family stopped eating. Chi-Chi looked at Father Yun, he is the only one who can decide the family. Yun Shixian did not express his opinion immediately, but was thinking about the pros and cons of this matter. As a businessman, he spent a lot of money on Yunmo in the past 18 years. If he cuts off the relationship now, the 18 years of careful training will be in vain. Judging from Yunmo's performance at the wedding today, this adopted daughter is not hopelessly stupid. Wait and see, what if she can help the family in the future? It was already past 10 o'clock when I came out of Zhou's house. This era does not have the prosperity and entertainment of the 21st century, and the old street is also a famous slum. In order to save electricity and fuel, the residents went to bed early, and the whole block was dark and silent, like a sleeping beast. The two Lingchuan brothers rushed home by the hazy moonlight, and went back to their respective houses. As soon as he walked to the door, he saw a dim light coming from the crack of the door. At that moment, Ling Chuan seemed to have something gently blowing in his heart, like the summer wind, and also like the moonlight in the sky, gentle and hazy. After a pause of 2 seconds, he stretched out his hand to push the door. Squeak. As soon as you enter the room, you will see the delicate sleeping face of a woman. Bright and jade-like oval face, curved willow leaf eyebrows, long and curly eyelashes covering the eyelids like two small fans, and cherry lips glowing rosy because of deep sleep. End of this chapter. On the wedding night in the 80s, the sweet wife has spaced Chapter 8, Be quiet, the children are asleep. Chapter 8 Be quiet, the children are asleep. I don't know if his gaze was too focused, or because he was disturbed by the sound of the door being pushed, the woman on the bed let out a soft groan, her slender eyebrows furrowed in dissatisfaction, she looked so delicate. Ling Chuan withdrew his gaze, turned around and gently closed the door, while unbuttoning his clothes, he stretched out his hand to turn off the light switch. Patter. It was dark in the room. Ling Chuan walked to the floor bed by the light from the window, just about to undress and lie down, when a sleepy woman complained suddenly from behind. Why did you turn off the light? It's whiny and soft, like acting like a baby. Ling Chuan looked back. He is used to groping in the dark, and his eyesight is excellent. Even in the dark room, he can vaguely see the exquisite figure of the woman sitting up. Do you sleep with the lights on? He asked. Well, I didn't turn off the light on purpose. I'm afraid of the dark, so you turn on the light. It turned out that he didn't leave the light on purpose, but was afraid of the dark. The corners of Ling Chuan's mouth curled up coldly. Our family doesn't have the habit of sleeping with the lights on. After speaking, he took off his clothes and lay down on the floor, closed his eyes and began to sleep. Seeing that the man refused to turn on the light, Yunhua had no choice but to throw off the quilt and get out of bed, and fumbled for the direction of the light switch with both hands. Yunhua was completely unaccustomed to this completely dark environment, and deviated from the direction within 2 steps. Seeing that the woman's white and tender feet were about to step on his face, Ling Chuan raised his hands to hold them. Ah, why are you touching me? Smelly rascal. Ling Chuan. The touch feels incredibly soft, just like freshly steamed white flour steamed buns, which makes people want to knead. You still touch. Let go. Yunhua tried hard to pull her foot back, but the man suddenly let go, and she, who was unable to stand still, suddenly fell to the ground. Ah, it hurts. Ling's house is a small courtyard, a place bigger than a palm, and the movement of the two of them was transmitted to the ears of Ling Jiang and Li Li, who slept in the main room next door. Li Li rolled her eyes, and her husband, who was sleeping like a dead pig, shouted at the top of his voice, Chuanzi, please be quiet, the children are all asleep. In the new room, Yunhua, who was clutching her buttocks with teary eyes, froze for a moment, and said in a sleepy voice, what do they think we are doing? If you speak louder, the whole street will think we are doing something. Yunma covered her mouth and muttered softly and aggrievedly, "It's not your fault, why are you touching my feet, are you a pervert? I sleep there with such a big head, you have to step on my face, are you blind? Who told you to turn off the lights, and I didn't make you sleep on the floor? You mean, you sleep on the floor and make my bed? Of course not. The only thing to blame is that you are incompetent and can't afford a big house. If your house is big enough, can I step on you in 2 steps? In the darkness, Ling Chuan did not speak. The atmosphere is somewhat condensed. Yun Mo also realized that her words hurt a man's self-esteem a bit, and when she was hesitating whether to apologize, she saw a tall black shadow enveloping her. Yunma's heart tightened. A man beating a woman is the most incompetent expression. If you have the ability, you walk sideways outside and make everyone outside fear you. That's a man. Patter. The electric light was turned on, and the field of vision suddenly became clear. Yunma froze for a moment, and the rest of the words stuck in her throat. Ling Chuan looked down at her from a high position, and because of the light behind her, she couldn't see his face clearly, but somehow felt a little dangerous. Sleep, if you talk again, I will gag your mouth. Sleep as soon as you sleep, I was already asleep, but you woke me up. After finishing speaking, she climbed onto the bed, covered the quilt, and turned over, leaving the man with the back of his head. Ling Chuan also quickly returned to lie down on the floor. A night without dreams. In the morning, Yunma was awakened by the noise, and when she opened her eyes, she saw the man's solid and powerful naked back. Broad shoulders, narrow waist, every muscle shows masculine beauty. This is something she can watch without paying. Yunma didn't blink. As if sensing her gaze, Ling Chuan turned his head, then picked up the blue shirt on the table and put it on his body. Yun Mo pouted regretfully, stretched her waist, pulled the quilt and prepared to go back to sleep, but she heard the man talking to her. When you wake up, it's time to have breakfast. Yunma was actually not hungry, but she was in poor health in her previous life, and she had developed the habit of keeping in good health. The instinct in her bones forced her to get up. Although she was mentally prepared, Yunma was still surprised by the blandness of the breakfast. The porridge so clear that you can see a human face, a few stone-like miscellaneous corn buns, and a large pot of leftovers from yesterday's banquet. All kinds of vegetables are mixed together, giving off a strange smell. Feeling a little nauseous. The only thing that gave Yunma any appetite was a hard-boiled egg on the table. Yun Mo looked at this, then at that, and stretched out her hand to eat the egg, but was amputated just as she stretched out her hand in midair. Lily picked up the eggs and peeled them, breaking them into small pieces and feeding them to her son. Seeing Yunma staring at Ling Jiala who was eating eggs in a daze, Ling Jiang immediately asked his wife, "Mother, do you have any eggs at home? Cook another one." Lily gave her husband a hard look. "It's easy to say, do you think eggs fall from the sky, and you don't need money to buy them? Listen to what you said, how expensive can an egg be, isn't it only 5 cents? What 5 cents? That was last year's price. Everything has gone up in the spring of this year. Now eggs are 80 cents a catty, which translates to 8 cents for an egg." Ling Jiang clicked his tongue, the increase is so much. Why haven't wages increased so fast? After finishing speaking, he continued, "Oh, 8 points is 8 points. You cook another one for your younger brother and sister. She is new here and can't get used to these rough foods." "Heh, I'm used to it if she's not used to it. I've been married to you for so many years, since when have you cared about my mother?" Ren Chuanzi didn't say anything. "Why are you so anxious?" Yunmo realized at this moment that the two were arguing because of her, and was a little embarrassed for a while. "Brother and sister-in-law, stop arguing, I don't eat eggs, I just drink porridge." After speaking, she picked up the bowl and took a big sip, but the porridge was too hot, so she quickly vomited it out again. Too hot. Ling Chuan glanced at her, then suddenly put down his chopsticks, got up and walked out in stride. Yunma didn't pay much attention to it, she lowered her head and drank slowly after the porridge cooled down. "I don't know if it's the rice that's bad or the pot hasn't been cleaned. There's a faint sour smell in the porridge. Auntie, the rice in the bowl must be eaten up, and food should not be wasted. After being told by the little niece, Yunma was a little embarrassed. I'm full. Ling Jiang hurriedly said, it's okay, brother and sister, you leave it there, and Chuanzi will eat it later. Yunma was a little surprised when she heard that she was going to give the cheap husband the leftovers that she couldn't finish eating. End of this chapter. On the wedding night in the 80s, the sweet wife has space. Chapter 9, did he buy steamed buns specially for her? Plus more. Chapter 9, did he buy the buns specially for her? Plus more. Although she and Ling Chuan are husband and wife now, they are actually no better than strangers. Yunma feels a little weird to let a man eat what she has eaten. When he was hesitating whether to continue eating the porridge in the bowl, Ling Chuan came back, holding a brown oil paper bag in his hand. Seemingly noticing her curious gaze, Ling Chuan glanced at her, and Shen Mao put the craft paper bag on the table. Lili opened the oiled paper bag and saw a few soft and round white flour steamed buns inside, and couldn't help but smack her lips. Hey, Chuanzi still loves his wife. As he spoke, he cued Yunma angrily, thanks to my younger siblings, I don't need to eat cornbread for breakfast today. So, he bought the steamed buns specially for her. Yun Mo looked at the soft steamed buns, then at Ling Chuan, who bowed his head and sipped his porridge. His cheeks were inexplicably warm. Brothers Ling Jiang and Ling Chuan ate quickly, left the table after eating. Yunma ate the slowest and finished at the end. As soon as she put down her chopsticks, Ling Chunhua immediately got up and began to clean up the dishes. Yunma glanced at Lili, who was about to go out with her son, and reached out to help Chunhua, but was stopped by Lili. Brother and sister, come out for a while, I have something to tell you. Oh. Lili led Yunma to the kitchen, and said, we haven't separated yet. Usually, the two families eat together, and the expenses such as food, oil, rice, noodles, water and electricity are shared equally between the two families every month, and the hygiene of each room is managed separately. One person manages the common area for a day, including cooking and washing dishes. You just married in, and my family will cook today's meals, and you will do it tomorrow. Cooking is not difficult for Yunma. She was born in a wealthy family in her previous life and received an elite education. She has learned cooking, but doing housework is a bit difficult for her. But now that she is the daughter-in-law of the Ling family, she can only follow the family's rules. Sister-in-law, just do as you say. Seeing that she was willing to listen to him, Lili was inexplicably relieved. She originally wanted to introduce her cousin to Ling Chuan. No one else knew about it, but she could tell that Ling Chuan was capable and would definitely make a lot of money in the future. Unexpectedly, when Zhou Xiaowei encountered such an incident, Ling Chuan had no choice but to marry the adopted daughter of the Yun family. In the past few days, she has been worried that Yunma is a fierce and tough person, and if she gets married, she will step on the head of her sister-in-law. Now, I don't think this sister-in-law is as arrogant and domineering as the rumors outside, but she is delicate, her whole body is as tender as made of tofu, and she doesn't know what to eat. Thinking of this, Lili couldn't help but said sourly, okay, there's nothing else to do, you can go back to the room and have a rest. Last night I was so late that I didn't sleep well. Yunma's face turned red instantly. She opened her mouth to explain, but how? Could it be that she and Ling Chuan slept in separate beds? Based on the idea that one thing more is worse than one thing less, Yunma returned to her room as if fleeing. Not long after returning to the house, Ling Chuan also came in from the outside, and the heat that had just dropped on Yunmo's face suddenly rose again, but fortunately Ling Chuan didn't pay much attention to her. I'm leaving, you take the money and use it first, and I'll get someone to bring it back at the end of the month. Ling Chuan handed her a stack of crumpled banknotes. Where are you going? Seeing her refusing to pick up the money in a daze, Ling Chuan put the money on the bed, turned around and took out the rucksack packed last night from the cabinet. I went to work in Yasi, and I won't come back until the Mid-Autumn Festival. It is only June now, and there are still more than 3 months before the Mid-Autumn Festival. Yunma is inexplicably happy when she thinks that she will not have to see a man for 3 months. Ling Chuan put his rucksack back, turned around and saw his new daughter-in-law standing there in a daze, frowned, and told her, you stay at home, don't run out if you have nothing to do. It's not because of futile thinking that he doesn't allow his daughter-in-law to show his face, but because he is worried that Yunma's temperament will cause trouble everywhere. But Yunma was not happy when she heard this. She is not a prisoner, so why restrict her freedom? But she didn't talk back to the man face to face, thinking that you are not at home anyway, even if I go out, you can still fly back and beat me? Chuanzi, are you okay? It's time to go. Coming. Hearing Ling Jiang shouting outside, Ling Chuan turned his head and responded, wanting to say something more, but in the end he didn't say anything, turned around and strode out the door. Yunma raised her heel subconsciously. The scene of the two coming out of the house one after the other fell into Ling Jiang's eyes. He thought it was the couple who were reluctant to leave, and suddenly smiled happily. Brothers and sisters, the family will be left to you and Jiala's mother to watch over. If there is anything wrong, you should take care of it. Because of the eggs in the morning, Yunma has a good impression of Ling Jiang, the big brother, and nodded with a smile, I will, big brother, take care of your health when you go out, I hope you are all well and come back safely. Ling Jiang nodded again and again, okay. Oh, this person who has read the book just speaks differently. Ling Chuan looked back at her, said, go back, and then strode away. Ling Jiang leaned in front of his wife and kissed his youngest son for a while, then turned around and chased after him full of joy. With the two brothers leaving home, the courtyard felt a bit colder and more solemn for no reason. Yunma felt a little emotional for no reason. Seeing her like this, Lili teased and said, it's good to get used to it. Men, they always have to go out to earn money. Otherwise, would the whole family sit at home and drink the northwest wind? When you have children in the future, life will not be so it's hard. Hearing this, Yunma looked in the direction of the kitchen. Ling Chunhua is squatting on the floor to wash dishes, her immature face is full of seriousness and understanding that does not match her age, and her thin shoulders are responsible for the housework of a large family. Looking at Ling Jiala again, she is obviously only 1.5 years younger than Ling Chunhua, she is fed when she eats and hugged when she walks. Yunmo couldn't tell Lili how to raise her children, so she could only walk into the kitchen. Chunhua, are you done washing? I'll help you. Auntie, no need, I'll finish washing right away. Ling Chunhua raised her small face, her eyes were clean and clear, she was not dissatisfied or complained about life at all, but full of joyful smiles. Yunma saw that there was really nothing she could do to help, so she knelt down to talk to Ling Chunhua. It's really clean. Ling Chunhua was very shy. After being praised so much by her, 2 red clouds immediately appeared on her small face. After breakfast, Yun Shixian called Yun Yao to the study. In the study, Yun Shixian looked at his daughter seriously, without saying a word, and the atmosphere was depressingly dignified. Yun Yao's core is a soul that is almost 40 years old. Yun Shixian's pressure does not work on her, but she deliberately pretends to be nervous. Dad, what do you need from me? Yun Yao's performance made Yun Shixian very satisfied. As the head of the family, he needs to establish absolute majesty in front of his children. I've already contacted the school for you. You will transfer to number 3 middle school in September, Xiaoyao. In order to transfer your student status to number 3 middle school, your family has paid a lot of money. You must be admitted to university. Thank you Erbai rich woman for your reward, add one more, okay. Thank you Xiao Xiao fairy for your reward, I love you. The update time is tentatively scheduled for 8 to 9 p.m. End of this chapter. On the wedding night in the 80s, the sweet wife has spaced chapter 10, a weasel wishes a new year to a chicken, uneasy and kind. Chapter 10 The weasel pays New Year greetings to the chicken, uneasy and kind. Number 3 High School is the best key high school in Jiangshi City, with an admission rate of over 30%. Entering this school is equivalent to stepping half a foot into the threshold of a university or technical secondary school. Hearing that she was able to enter the 3rd middle school and enter the 3rd year of high school, Yun Yao was ecstatic. Dad, don't worry, I will definitely live up to your high expectations. 3rd middle school has strong teaching staff and high teaching quality, but with your current level, you may not be able to keep up after entering. I have already arranged a tutor for you. From today until the start of school, you have to go to 6 to 6 every day. Hours of tutoring. Thank you Dad, I will definitely work hard. Okay, there's nothing else to do, you can go back to your room and read, the tutor will be here in a while. Yun Yao hesitated. Dad, I want to go out this morning. Seeing that Yun Shixian frowned displeasedly, Yun Yao quickly explained, I'm worried that Yun Mo won't get used to living in Ling's house just after she got married, so I want to go and have a look, and bring her some change of clothes by the way. Yun Yao, why did you come here? It's so hot, we're dying of the sun. Yun Yao just got out of the car, and several young girls standing under the tree with flower umbrellas complained dissatisfiedly. Yun Yao quickly explained, I'm sorry, I was late helping Yunma pack her luggage. Yun Yao, you are too good-tempered, she targets you everywhere at school, why do you care what she is doing? In any case, Xiao Mo is from the Yun family, and she is my sister. Now that she is married, the Ling family's conditions are poor, and life will definitely be difficult in the future. That's what she asked for. Who told her not to study hard, but she thought of doing crooked ways, even cheated in the final exam, and was expelled from the school. Hearing that her classmates were dissatisfied with Yunma, Yun Yao was overjoyed in her heart, but she nervously explained to Yunma. Xiaoma just wants to win me so much that she thinks about it and goes astray. Her nature is not bad. You still speak for her. She doesn't appreciate it. She goes around saying that you framed her. Yun Yao showed bitterness on her face. Xiaoma has always had a heart for me, forget it, I won't talk about the past, I brought a lot of things, you can help me carry them, I will treat everyone to coffee another day. Okay. A group of people carried rice noodle candies and the like, and walked towards Ling's small courtyard chattering. Old Street is famous for its slums. A few young and beautiful female students from Yunyao walked in the alley, just like peonies blooming in the wilderness, attracting envious eyes from the neighbors. Knock knock knock. Yunma was talking with Ling Chuanguang in the kitchen when there was a knock on the door suddenly. Opening the door, seeing Yun Yao standing outside the door with a few young and beautiful girls, Yun Mo subconsciously frowned. Xiao Mo, let's take a look at you. I can't wait to see her jokes. Yunma hummed softly in her heart and replied coldly, I look good, I don't have any extra stools at home, so I won't leave you guys to sit, and walk slowly. Seeing that Yunma was about to close the door, Yunyao quickly stretched out her hand to hold the door. Xiao Mo, it's so hot and everyone has come all the way to see you, so we must let everyone rest their feet and drink water. You are also an educated person who has been educated, so you don't even know how to treat guests. That's right, Yunma, what's your attitude? Fortunately, Yunyao brought you luggage and gifts, aren't you too arrogant? Looking at the aggrieved girls, Yunma blushed vigorously, pretending to be embarrassed and wronged. I am very grateful that you came to see me, but the house is too dilapidated, and I am afraid of being laughed at by you. The girls are all students of number 6 middle school, and they had conflicts and unpleasantness with Yunma more or less before, and they came here today to see Yunma's jokes. A 17 or 18-year-old girl, her temperament is not bad at all. Seeing Yunma crying with shame, she didn't feel happy in her heart. Instead, she reflected on whether her behavior was too much. A girl hesitated and said to the others, then, let's not go in. Forget it, I'm home, I haven't finished my homework yet. Seeing that everyone retreated after Yunma said a few words, Yunyao became a little anxious. She managed to gather the female classmates who had a feud with Yunma, and came to see Yunma making a fool of herself. It was already at the door, how could she give up halfway? Xiao Mo, everyone came to see you out of concern for you. People have to face reality after all. Can you still escape for a lifetime? Yun Mo wiped away the tears that were lingering in the corner of her eyes. I just wasn't ready, Yun Yao, you suddenly brought so many people to my house without even saying a word, I didn't even have time to tidy up my room, it was messy everywhere, you are also a girl, if I bring a large group of people in to visit when you haven't cleaned up the room, would you be happy? Xiao Mo, you think too much, we are all classmates, I won't laugh at you. This explanation is too pale, even Yun Yao herself finds it unconvincing. The other girls looked at Yun Yao with a little more inquiring and questioning eyes. The persona Yun Yao had always erected in front of them was kind and generous. Apparently Yun Yao also realized this, and handed the things in front of Yun Mo like a remedy. Xiaoma, I came here today mainly to bring you your luggage, and some rice noodle candies and the like. You thought the Ling family was too poor and refused to marry you. You even burned the dowry your parents prepared for you. I bought these with my own pocket money. Although it's not much, it's a little bit of my heart. You can deal with the present for now, and I'll help you later when I have more money. At this time, Yunhao didn't know that Ling Chuan had left early in the morning, so she deliberately said these words in order to provoke Ling Chuan's anger. Ling Chuan, an uneducated rough man, knew that his wife disliked him for being poor, and even burned the dowry. She is too aware of how painful and difficult it is to have a domestic violence husband. Yunhao will taste all the suffering she suffered in her previous life in this life. Yunhao is a typical weasel who pays New Year greetings to chickens. If she is uneasy and kind, Yunhao will naturally not accept it, and she also despises Yunyao's things. But before she could figure out how to refuse, Li, who had been paying attention to the movement at the door, suddenly walked over, and took the things in Yunyao's hand with a smile on her face. Oh, Miss Yun is too polite. I accepted it from my younger siblings. My younger siblings, please stop standing and sit in the room. Yunemo stretched out her hand to stop Li, sister-in-law, don't be indecent when you come here. You accepted the gift from the Yun family, what are you going to give in return? Li was stunned for a moment, then said with a sneer, these are all from our own family, so you don't have to be so particular about it. End of this chapter.